Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin. Thanks for joining me today, where we have a little bit of a Q&A session. First, some housekeeping. Hope to see you guys in Albuquerque if you're going to be in the area. Also, I'll be at Central States. Also, if you don't know what year this is, you should always see when the video is posted. Let's go with 2024 Anno Domini, and make sure that you're not watching a video that's like 3 years old, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Albuquerque, and Ben's not there. So there's that. But also on our videos, there's a community tab. If you click on the owl, it should get you to our main section of videos, and there's a bunch of tabs there. There's one that says community. If you click on the community tab, that's where we update you on where I will be physically and in person when it comes to traveling to shows. As always, thanks for liking, subscribing, doing all the YouTube stuff, and just joining us in general. Some fun little questions today. Let me hear. Spicy Boyle says, Benny. There's more to it, but I just thought I'd pause on that. I've looked and come up empty. Can you do a video on details, grades, and how you price them flat? I just saw excessive corrosion. That's new. Anyway, thank you for geeking on coins. Makes me feel like eating some nerds. I don't know how to take all of that, but I will say there's an actual legitimate question in there, and we're going to tackle it here. He goes on, compared to flat grades, there's so many different ways on the spectrum. Is corrosion better or worse than cleaned? Environmental damage, harshly cleaned? Looking at classic large head cents right now. Besides what looks best over the internet, any tips much appreciated. So any tips on details graded coins? I was just talking to a friend the other day about this, and I actually have a customer that only buys coins that are slabbed and they say cleaned. Well, it's not all he buys, but he actually likes buying cleaned coins because he knows what he's getting. And he doesn't feel like you have to fight from one grade point to the next. You know, if the coin jumps a lot in price from one grade point to the next, he's like, I've got this coin, it's cleaned, I don't care, I like the coin, it's a rare date, I wanted to have it, and he's happy with it. The reason I tell you that is because what's important about cleaned coins, coins that are marked cleaned, corroded coins, is actually just the overall eye appeal and what's been done. Now, I will say this, in the marketplace, think about it this way. Corrosion, if it's heavy corrosion, it'll have pitting all over the surfaces, and that'll really affect the way the coin looks. This is actually a little bit more forgivable in really early US large cents and half cents, where a lot of the coins are already pitted, and once you get to coins that are more of a problem-free planchet, those actually command a premium. So it's a little bit inverse of how we normally think about things. But corrosion in general is not a good sign. Most coins won't say corroded on it. Usually they'll say cleaned or harshly cleaned, which is really, if it says harshly cleaned, they've really put kind of the death knell on the coin usually. Cleaned comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes and varieties. I've seen coins that just look a little bit too bright and they're marked cleaned. I've seen coins that I didn't think were cleaned that were marked cleaned. I've seen coins, it'll just have like one little set of hairlines in the corner and the rest of the coin looks beautiful. You'll see coins that look like a hubcap. They've been polished, and that's really bad. The real answer to your question, because you wanted to know about value overall, has a lot to do with the overall appearance and eye appeal. So usually things like heavy damage, big tooling marks, so like engraving marks, heavily polished like a hubcap, those are the type of things that will generally really bring the value down. Now, how far down does the value go depends a lot on the rarity and scarcity of the coin. So on a common coin that would have been $10, I mean, it could be just worth a couple bucks. On a coin that's $100, let me step back here 1 second and say, for coins that are very rare, or there are very large jumps. So here's where it gets tricky, right? So coins that are very rare or scarce, you're probably going to see them trade at a pretty good price point still if they're very rare coins and their cleaning is not that heavy. So like think of your 1909 SVDB cent or some of your better date Carson City Morgan dollars or 93S. Those will tend to trade a little bit higher than something that's a common date coin, where because people can buy, if you think about it, people can buy the common date coin and just buy a nice one. So they're not going to bother buying a cleaned one. So cleaned coins tend to only have that extra demand that'll drive up the price if it's a rare coin. Right. The other thing to know generally about cleaning is usually you can count on it knocking a coin at least kind of like 1 grade, sometimes 2 if it's really harshly cleaned. And then it does depend on, once again, the price point jumps. So you can't always just look at a coin and say, hey, in this grade it's $100, then 50, then 25. So it's clean now. It's only going to go from 100 to 50. Well, it depends just on how nice it is. At the end of the day, it's like everything else, which is to say it's a matter of what the buyer and the seller are willing to trade, what terms they're willing to trade on. At what point do you see the value of the coin versus them? So the bigger picture here still is learning about what a coin should look like and learning about kind of what's accepted in the marketplace and also training your eye to it. So in that case, you're able to look at a coin and say, okay, this coin says cleaned on the label, but I really still like the coin and I don't care, and I'm going to pay this relative to what it looks like the market is. And just a reminder, coins are not commodities as much as the grading of coins has made things, commoditized. I can't say. Commodification was the word I want, but I didn't use it in the right sentence structure. What's new? So the commodification of coins is not one of my favorite things. Not every coin has the exact same price point. So unlike silver, where you can say spot's $24, and then after that, it's just a matter of figuring out, which side of that 24 you're going to be on. Every coin looks different. Every MS65 Morgan looks different. And so, I just had a rainbow toned Morgan that we got $1,250 for that I think it was a common date. The coin itself would have been, $75 without the toning, right? So there's things that go into the price points. And that actually gets back to your cleaning question, which is that it affects the price point. How it affects the price point can really depend on just what the buyer and the seller both see. All right, thanks for the question. All right, Dana, awesome coins. Do you think that coins with CAC stickers are getting more of a premium than they were a year ago or so? I don't have any data points, but I never do, so we're going to talk about it anyways. I don't think that they're getting like a higher premium. Their big language twist, if you watch them, is to say, our coins don't get premiums. We just put stickers on nice coins. The coin was already nice. And there's a lot of logic there that's actually correct and true. As far as them, the premium is changing or getting higher or what have you, I don't think that they are. I think that we haven't seen a big pullback or discrepancy between the grading companies over the last couple of years. That's always the big question over time, is where will these things all settle? In other words, will you see really, really big price differences between PCGS, NGC, Annex, CAC, stickering and grading? Where does this all fall? And much like the last question, everything still has to do with the overall appearance of a coin and the demand of the coin, right? And so if you get two people both chasing down the same coin, at an auction, you can have a coin that's really should only be worth a couple $100, sell for a couple thousand because you had a couple of stubborn people. And also the advent of registry sets, et cetera, has, I think, really affected lots of what the coin market is. For those of you who don't know, a registry set is put on by the grading companies where they assign a point value to different grades. And so you're competing with other people. Now you're competing just to get a little pin, but that's another comment for another day. So you're competing for these things, and this has made certain coins go into higher demand because of something like a stickering system where somebody doesn't have that one item that they're looking for. Also, the advent of course, the combination of old holders and stickers. All this stuff is relatively new to the marketplace, last 10, 15 years, right? But also, it'll just keep morphing. It'll keep morphing. And as far as what's going to be in demand 5 or 10 years from now, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. And we're going to move on to Ty's question. Do you think that coins graded in the 80s, et cetera, were more accurately and more unbiased than today? Now, I'm going to tackle this and just say, I'm going to assume that he means certified coins when he says graded coins. So we're talking about the advent of grading. So think about when PCGS and NGC were really just starting. You'd already had several of the different photo grade companies, AccuGrade and other things coming out. And were they more accurate and more unbiased? Okay, well, let's tackle the accurate part first. I know a lot of people talk about gradeflation, and which I get. I mean, there's a truth to the fact that when you look at coins from a certain time era, they were certainly more conservative than we are today. But I do think that generally today our grading standards are pretty consistent and pretty solid. So I think that they were accurate for the time, especially when they first started out. I think that's very fair. Do I think that they were more accurate? Now this is a fun one, because the way I'm going to tackle this question is to say, okay, if I take old NGC fatties, which are the older holders from the same time period as like PCGS rattlers, and I send them in, this is just as an example, we were talking about CAC a minute ago. If I send them into CAC to get stickered, or if I just use my own eyeballs and say, what do I like? They are definitely not all the same. In fact, I would say that I've seen plenty of coins and rattlers that I thought were just average. In other words, I've seen a ton of Morgan dollars graded MS64, MS65 that I thought, okay, well, I wouldn't sticker them either if I had a stickering company, right? They're nice coins, but they're just kind of common or average for the grade. So I think that it's not. I think that that speaks actually mostly to the reality of coins, which is coins don't have a single look to every coin. That's for the modern collector, like the guys who want silver eagles and things like that. But older coins aren't made that way. Even coins that are modern coins struck for circulation don't look like that. The ones that are struck for mint sets and proof sets, they all look perfect, boring, right? But the ones that are actually struck for circulation, try to find really nice, 1950s, 60s, 70s nickels in something that has good eye appeal, luster, strike, all those things. And it's a very challenging thing to do, right? So I don't think that the accuracy was necessarily off, nor do I think it's necessarily off today. I just think that coins aren't commodities. This is the theme for the day, guys. If you didn't get it, the word of the day, commodification. So, don't think of coins that way. Like, you still learn about grading and understanding the marketplace. There's lots of things in the marketplace that you or I have to understand to kind of navigate the marketplace. But really, coins are all going to look different for the same grade. And they always have, and they always will. As far as, more unbiased, I think I don't know what it's like to be inside the grading room for these places, as far as if they know whose coins are whose and what's what. I would say that there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, my answer is a little bit more philosophical, and that is, we're not going to ever look up and say, oh no, all of a sudden these people learned how to be completely unbiased. But I hear stories from guys all the time that are modern stories, where you hear guys grumbling on the bourse, on the trading floor of a coin show, about, so and so in the grading room hates me, and we had an argument, da da da. And it's basically like sixth grade girls. And trust me, I had daughters, so it's a thing, right? That's the coin dealer and the coin grader and the coin company relationship. It's basically just like middle school. It's really rough out there. And so I don't know about that. If you mean biased in that way, as far as like who knows whose coins are being graded and is someone getting a favor, you will always have stories about guys getting hosed, and you'll always have stories about someone getting a favor. And I don't know what's true and what's not, because I am not there. I'm just not in the room where it happened. And I would love to be in the room where it happened, but I don't know. I will also say, going with the theme of nothing new under the sun, before there was grading, before there was certification, there were mail order companies. And I mean guys that would put out bulk amounts of coins at a high premium to unsuspected buyers. When I say mail order companies, that's what I'm talking about. They've always been around. They're always going to be around. So whether or not that is something that is biased, the biased part for me when I saw that question was, you think about, I've seen like huge groups of graded dollars or graded $5 and $10 and $20 gold pieces that were clearly sent in just for one mail order company to promote and sell a whole bunch of stuff, right? And this has happened at different times. And that gets back to the accuracy and bias, because part of that question makes me think about these things where people are sending in, thousands of coins at a time, getting them certified, tripling the price over the marketplace and selling them in different, through different venues, newspaper ads. Of course, today it's going to be, they're going to jump on your phone and bombard you with stuff because they hear you talking to the Coin Geek and stuff. So hopefully you don't get too many bad ads for those other guys, but because you watch me, I don't know how to protect you online, but be safe out there, folks. Just be safe. You don't know where your phone has been. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner. Please leave a comment down below. Thanks.